Welcome back to another Feature Friday. Today, I'm going to be talking about messaging with your contacts. And so for me, we are constantly messaging contacts in different ways. Or if you're a professional services business, you might be messaging your contacts in different ways. Most of the time, that's email, but also that could be text messages or people are reaching out to you through Facebook. And you've got all these different apps open to kind of keep track of things. And so if you're talking to a contact named John and you're talking to him on Facebook, you're talking to him through text message, which might be on a phone or a separate messaging service. And then you also have email, which is probably stored in Gmail. And so in the toolkit, we have this thing called a universal inbox, which I'll show here in a second. But essentially, it brings all of that conversation into a single location. So you can see all of that messaging with a single contact in one spot versus having multiple applications open. And then another thing is essentially, if you remember a type of conversation or you remember the content of a conversation, you can look for that conversation. You don't remember if that was in a text message or a Facebook message or an email. You search for the content and it will find it across all of those different channels. So let's jump in to see how the toolkit solves the problem of multiple types of conversations happening across multiple channels. So let's take a look at this universal conversations tab that we have here. I love this. But this is one of my favorite features inside of the toolkit because we're able to bring in all conversations from all clients, whether that's across email or text message or calls, and it's all in one location. So it's kind of your universal inbox, so you can kind of keep track of everything. And so the improvements here too that have been done is like we can filter a lot better than what we used to. The old filtering, you used to have to kind of click on different things. There's a lot of different ways we could filter. It wouldn't remember these things. And so here I have some names blurred out, but essentially you can see all of the different contexts or all of the different messages that have come in, regardless if they're email or text message. And when you click on the person, you can kind of see all the conversations within there. You can see that appointments are booked, different things like that. If I want to, I can filter here and only look at SMS if I wanted to. So if I click that and go away, this will now filter down to any times that we just had a text message back and forth. I could do SMS and email. I could look specifically at payments, different things like that. If I want to, I can call this. I could call a client directly from here, which is great. I could archive this conversation. I also have the ability to search across all of my messages from all of my clients. If I clicked here and wanted to search for something, I remember somebody told one of my clients sent me a link to something, or I remember talking to somebody about this thing. If I type this in here, it automatically filter down all of the messages to that particular word. So if we talk about monday.com, somebody's talking about monday.com. If I search for monday.com, then it would filter down to only the messages that included that. If I look at assigned to me, right now I'm in the Teams inbox, so this is all messages for both of our team members. But if I wanted to look at my inbox, I could just look at only the clients that are assigned to me or contacts that I'm following. If we go under unread, that's obviously all the unread messages. The filtering is great here too, because maybe I only want to filter this down to all of our inbound messages or anything that was going outbound, or I'm only worried about text messages that come in, or just emails or calls. So that way I could see like any missed calls or anything like that. We can see here that this would be calls. I can filter down to a list of things. The other thing that I forgot to mention is in this universal pace, this is another big advantage. Messages that come in from Facebook are also in here, Facebook and Instagram, as well as TikTok. So any of those messages coming in are really powerful. If you want to filter down to just voicemails, you can do that too. And so really, rather than having to open up your email editor to go there, open up your cell phone or some type of messaging assistant that you have to go look at those messages, open it up Facebook to check those messages and so forth, all of that comes into one location. And if we already have that contact in the toolkit and it can match on first and last name, then it ties those messages from Facebook or Instagram to that contact. And so again, you don't have multiple contacts in there. You can really see all type of information for a single person. And so obviously on the screen here, I have myself, but we can basically see all messages that have come and gone from the toolkit to my email address. So some of these are notifications that I get when we get a podcast guest submits a form, when we have a discovery form submitted, and things like that. But all of that is in one single location, and I don't have to go to Gmail, search for my email or my client's email, and kind of go through all the different things. And again, the biggest thing is being able to search for the actual content across all of the messages. So instead of having to go to all these different locations, it's great to have this all in one spot. And then from here, I can also go and look at the contact information. So here's the activity of things. I can basically see all of the different forms this contact has submitted. Since we have everything built within the toolkit, I also know when they visit different pages. I can go and look at my notes for this contact. So it's kind of a central location to not only look at messages, but start to look at the contact details. And then if I really need to look at all the details here, I click on contact details and I can see any fields or any form questions that they've answered, things like that. And so this is one of my favorite views inside of the toolkit. It really just gives you that entry into everything, and I don't have to go searching through everything, especially when you're trying to look for a specific message content and things like that. And so if you don't currently have a CRM, or you are using multiple products to kind of keep track of all the different messaging for all of your different clients and they're slipping through the cracks, or you just spend way too much time trying to find that email that you remember sending last week, reach out to us. The toolkit is this is one of many features that our clients use to track all of this, just so that way things don't slip through the cracks. I know one of our clients that does junk removal pretty much lives inside of this view because they have incoming calls all the time, responding to text messages, forms being submitted. And so all of that can be tracked right here versus the contact view that might be sorted by name or added, things like that. This is really giving you a live pulse of everything going on inside of your business.